Bonjour. Good morning, everybody. Bonjour. Mashan Disney Cause, Shikat Odam, Eskagamak, and Dochbia, Bude Wadami, Onyaka and Dow. In way Magidak, so everybody around here. What I just said is my name is Ned Mashan Daniels. I'm the third. I was named after my grandfather, Ned Daniels. I was born up north on our reservation in the woods. No, I was kidding. Behind the tree, man. But that's our original land. We got pushed up there in Forest County. We're standing on our original land where we used to live. You know, this is a very significant place to us. This is where we all gathered to, all the Anishinaabe gathered here many, many years ago before we were captured, shifted to a different place. You know, you always hear about the Trail of Tears out there. Has anybody ever heard about the Trail of Tears? So the Potawatomi, we had a Trail of Death also. We had our own Trail of Tears too. Many of you know my brother Dominic here. They're part of us. There's 11 bands of us, I believe, of Potawatomis, and their tribe was one of the ones that got captured first. No, it's kidding now. But they got pushed out to Kansas, and that tribe had to walk that whole way to that reservation from over here, because we used to be around the Mackinac Bridge all the way around the Great Lakes. You know, we never surrendered. We were like the ownership of the, we held ownership of our Great Lakes, the Anishinaabe did. And back to Dominic's, our brothers, they got marched all the way out to Kansas. They walked while they were captured, and many of our Anishinaabe, they died on that trail. So that's what I'm talking about. We had our own Trail of Death, but they don't speak about it in history. They don't teach that in the schools. I wish they would teach our history the right way, you know. But today I got asked here, and I'm very thankful. I'm here with you guys, you know, because I'm from the land up there, my reservation. We have 3 reservations. It's Stone Lake, Carter, and Blackwell. Has anybody ever been up to Carter? Anybody? It's about 3 hours for me, but probably about 3.5 hours, 4 hours for everybody else in here. But yeah, that's where we got pushed to, you know. That's our land now, but this was our original land where we're at. This inlet right here, all the Anishinaabe used to come here and fish and gather, and they all used to meet up here and trade goods, you know. You could buy guns here back then, or whatever they were, muskets or however it was. You could buy anything here. You know, all of our people. This was the good land. I don't know if you guys ever heard that, but that's kind of like in the story of the name of Milwaukee too. It's the good land. So we always get that good feeling when we come back here. I feel like I'm at home every single time I come back here. We always get treated good too, and I want to thank everybody that runs our facilities and works with us. You know, in the 16th century, we were by the south of the Mackinac Bridge. There was Potawatomi, Odawas, and Ojibways. And we were the three fires, you know, before we got moved around. Potawatomis, they gave us a task a long time ago to be the keepers of the fires and take care of that in a sacred way. In Ojibwe, they're keepers of the faith. G-bomb is like a word for spirit. In Ottawa, they're keepers of the trade. They used to tell you how much your furs were worth. You know, they used to tell you what price you can put on any of your goods, because that's how we survived a long time ago, before we were all colonized, you know. You know, I was going to write a speech down, but I usually speak from my heart when I do these kind of things. And I'm like a Ogama back home. I'm one of the chiefs over there. So I work with our children, and I really enjoy that. I brought some of my sons with me, Andrew and Brandon, if you guys can stand up. You know. I really like to acknowledge them too, you know, for coming with me and keeping me up late last night. But yeah, this is a very significant piece of land we got, and I'm very thankful that we could take some of this stuff back home with us to keep our families going back home too, you know. And we're eight families a long time ago that we hid amongst all the tribes. We hid out from the government. Nothing against the sheriff over there. But we hid out and we survived, and we made it this far, and we're still here, you know. And I just wanted to share that little story about that. And like we were gambling here a long time ago. I'm not gonna lie, neither. This is where we gamble. But yeah, like I said, I like to speak to the heart, and I just ended with saying this couple things I have written down. You know, as a Potawatomi, I want to recognize that we are on ancestral lands here in Milwaukee. Our people have long-standing ties to this place, and while our history includes displacement, our connection to this land has never been broken. Today, we continue that presence not only through our cultural and traditions, but throughout our partnerships, our shared communities, our work together. And I appreciate the opportunity to be here to continue building respectful relationships moving forward. And, you know, I just want to say Chi Miigwech to each and every one of you that came here. I know there's a lot of very important people in here, and I don't want to hold up the show too much. And I just want to say God bless each and every one of you. And that's pretty much all I can say right now, or I could sit up here and talk all day like Dominic. If you want me to. Well, thank you all very much. Enjoy your day.
Please welcome to the stage Potawatomi Casino Hotel's CEO and General Manager, Dominic Ortiz.
Good morning. Another beautiful day dawns on Potawatomi, and I couldn't start the day better than to be honored to have Mishan and his sons up here while I speak like this, and to tell that story of how I came down here on that Trail of Tears. As I was younger, my grandma would tell me, and I went to an Indian school called Haskell Indian Nations University, and they would then bring in all tribal professors and would re-educate us from what we learned in high school. And I would come back to my grandmother and I'd tell me about the story. I was like, oh, long ago there was a trail of death, and she would set me down. She goes, that's not that long ago. That's my grandfather you're talking about that walked from Wisconsin to here. And then my dad, as a tribal chairman and leader of the Prairie Band Potawatomi Nation, he would say the same thing about our journey and where we ended up in Kansas. So as I'm here with my relatives, I'll introduce myself. Buju, Puknane Nagishnagas, Makwa Ododam, Kickapoo, Bodawatami, Endow. So I come from Kansas, and I just said my spirit name and hello, and I also represent the Kickapoo Nation. But today we're here to talk about David Crowley. I'll tell you, when I first got here to Milwaukee, he inspired me, and some people, when you see them speak and how they are with the culture and with the people here, he's just one of those personalities. And lo and behold, he came from Potawatomi and was a table games dealer. So this truly is his home. And I would have said, if there was anybody what department he came from, you know, it's table games, because they got the personality, they got the entertainment, and they're always looking to take care of their players. So here at Potawatomi, we got a huge heart for David. We all look up to him. I'm inspired by his leadership and what he's done across the state and what he continues to do. And as Michan said, a lot of powerful people here, and what you do and help the tribe and Potawatomi in the city. We got 3,000 jobs and benefits that we try and take care of them. And I tell you, the elders want to make sure that I respect the team members here, that I take care of them, and I create safety and continue to drive this business. And I take that to heart, because it's more than just a business challenge or a demand to me. It's about the next generation and our relatives of what we do here. So I just stop right there and thank each and every one of you for all the hard work that you do in the city. From the bottom of our heart, we appreciate it. Potawatomi is so proud to be here. Thank you.
Please welcome to the stage Milwaukee County Youth Commission Co-Chair, Sarah Barrett.
Good morning. My name is Sarah Bruitt, and I'm a co-chair of the Milwaukee County Youth Commission, appointed by Chairwoman Marcelia Nicholson. It is an honor to be here with you today and represent the Youth Commission. President Franklin D. Roosevelt said, "We cannot always build the future for our youth, but we can build our youth for the future." This means allowing young people to play an active role in advocating for and promoting change, not because someday policies will affect us, but because they already do. Decisions about education, transportation, mental health, and public safety shape our lives directly. So being part of the Youth Commission means building a bridge between our peers and county government. In 2022, Milwaukee County Executive David Crowley and Board Chairwoman Marcelia Nicholson co-authored a resolution to reestablish the Milwaukee County Youth Commission. Youth Commissioners are students between the ages of 14 and 18 who have been empowered by the strong leadership in Milwaukee County to drive positive change. The Milwaukee County Youth Commission exists because our community recognizes that young people are not observers, but contributors. Strong role models and positive leaders in Milwaukee allow young people to learn, lead, and grow. So I want to especially thank all of our adult advisors who support the Youth Commission. You are the best role models we could ask for, and every day we are inspired by your work ethic and passion. I joined the Youth Commission my freshman year, and I'm currently a junior in high school. I joined because I wanted to become more civically engaged, but I was not sure how to do that as a freshman in high school. From being a freshman on the commission who was learning how to find my voice, to my first few months as co-chair, I've learned a lot. One of the most important things I learned through the Youth Commission is that there's no set of criteria a person must meet to make change. There's no age requirement, experience needed, or mold a person must fit. All it takes is one small idea and the courage to share it. One way the Youth Commission has recently contributed to the Milwaukee community is by unanimously passing a $35,000 microgrant to Pathfinders, a youth homelessness organization. Pathfinders supports, thank you. Pathfinders supports and empowers youth, young adults, and young families facing housing insecurity, which aligns with the Youth Commission's policy areas of advocating for the needs of youth and mitigating youth homelessness in Milwaukee. I think it is critical that in a time of political uncertainty, everyone understands that the ability to make positive change in their community is within their reach. Something that was important to me was recognizing diverse groups of change makers. So last year, I passed a cultural heritage resolution. Each month at the Youth Commission Committee of the Whole, we recognize and celebrate a group of individuals that corresponds with the month. This March, we highlighted Women's History Month. We discussed how women's heritage reminds us how far we have come, but how every generation has had the opportunity to push the door open a little wider. I'm proud to be able to keep opening that door for my generation and generations to come. Thank you to the dedicated community members of Milwaukee County who do not push youth aside to build the future, but who bring us along so the youth of Milwaukee is built for the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Please welcome to the stage local entrepreneur Liz Sosi Statura, owner of Tootsie's Tea.
Hi, everyone. My name's Liz. I'm the owner of Tootsie's Tea. We are an indigenous tea company that specializes in loose leaf tea. I source ingredients locally, globally, and even grow ingredients of my own at the Native Wellness Garden. I started about 4 years ago at pop-ups, random events around the city, reoccurring events like River West Farmers Market, Milwaukee Makers Market, Red Magic Native American Festival. These things really helped me build a strong following, and by year 2, I knew that we really were starting to grow. We were in a shared commercial kitchen, but with being in a tea business, it's very hard because there's multiple ingredients that will go into one tea, so we really have to store a lot. And being in a shared kitchen can be very tricky. So we knew in order to grow and expand, we had to find our own kitchen. That became very tricky because as a tea production facility, we don't need a stove or an oven. And so we found a lot of places that we looked at in Milwaukee County. We felt like there weren't a lot of options. And the ones that were available were way out of our price because they offered things that we just didn't need. We also, when I say we, I'm also talking about my husband as well. It's just me and my husband. We do basically everything ourselves. So I know we were like hopelessly also trying to find a place that, not just a kitchen, but maybe had a retail space and even a little community room that we can host events, or small community events and tea tastings. And obviously that meant the price for rent would be even higher. And we started to think, what if we created that space rather than try and find a space that might not exist for our budget. We considered just a simple building if we renovate it, even if we put tens of thousands of dollars into renovating it, it would be, you know, we crunched the numbers, everything, and it made more sense, and we were still saving way more money had we used or rented a regular commercial kitchen. So we found a building. It's right down the street. I'm not sure where we're at, but on 25th and Clybourne. We were so excited. We signed the lease. I was able to negotiate 6 months rent free with my landlord. We're very confident. We did lots of research with everything, and we had visited the city multiple times, asked many questions. We felt very prepared. But then by the time it actually came to doing the renovations, we experienced lots of setbacks. One of those setbacks was, as much as everyone from the city was very helpful, I think there were things that I was told I didn't need an architect. I was told I wouldn't need a second bathroom. I didn't need a grease trap. There's a lot of things that when it came down to it, I actually did need these things, which shifted everything, and it caused a lot of delays, and it's really, no one even gave me wrong information necessarily. It's just that sometimes there's just these little itty bitty reasons that maybe that isn't accurate, and that kind of related to us, and it was very stressful. So that shifted things significantly. When we had negotiated our 6 months free rent with my landlord, we had hoped that we could open June 20th because our rent started in July, and we thought, okay, we could open we'll get it all done before rent starts. But we didn't even get our permit until June 25th. And then we even found out that we had to get rezoned, which we didn't even get rezoned till July 31st. So with that being a challenge, you know, it sounds like it might be directly with Milwaukee, but I can say that that's not the case. I have a lot of small business friends who are trying to or have open businesses all around the county, West Allis, Shorewood, Wauwatosa. They're all experiencing these same things. It's not just one city necessarily, and it's so hard because sometimes if it's a big corporation or investment group, they can absorb these costs, but when it's someone like a small business who wears many hats and they're working with very little money, these shifts and changes make a huge difference. Another experience, a challenging experience we've had is also with funding. I felt very confident going into this with my lenders, talking about my plan. I had a strong business plan. I felt very confident, and what we learned very quickly that if you don't have collateral, it doesn't matter. They're not going to fund you properly unless you have collateral. I don't own a home. I don't own a car. Well, I do own a car, but it's not worth a lot of money. And for me, it's, well, how could I even own a home if I can't get ahead? It makes it the system and how things work in the world is very funny because it's so hard to even get ahead. And being a small business owner, not just me, but many others, when we had things we need to pay for, we're often having to put things on credit cards, and then all of a sudden, your score drops, and then your insurance rates go up, and it's very hard. It's a tricky place to be in, and it's so hard to get ahead. So when I found out that Milwaukee County was going to be doing the Building Bridges grant, I knew I had to apply. I was very desperate at that point, but also I was very intrigued with what I had read about it. I know that there was a lot of people deserving that had applied, and I felt so grateful when I cried when I found out that we had been awarded the $10,000. And the one thing that I will say, that try not to get too emotional, is with Milwaukee County, giving me that. It wasn't just, sorry, it wasn't just like giving me a check. It was like really just actually like genuinely like involved in like with what was going on with our renovations and everything, and not in a like micromanaging or pressure type of way, like when are you going to open, but kind of like wanting to know and genuine concern and wanting to put themselves into my shoes to not just understand my situation, but like other small businesses. It's been so nice to, being a small business owner, it can drain you so much and it can mess with your confidence. I truly, I don't even feel like I didn't even want to be on the stage. I hate public speaking, and I just like, I don't, but I felt like I'm here and I'm on this stage, and I agreed to this because I genuinely can't say the love and the support that I felt from the people at Milwaukee County and the staff. It's, because they have showed up for me so much. I knew that I had to show up for them, and this is why I'm here. Before I wrap everything up, I just want to say, obviously, I'm very passionate about small business, and if you could do anything, just really try to support them as much as possible. We live in an age where it's so easy to just order things on Amazon, and I really think just maybe make a weekly habit of just going to a local shop, and maybe it's one you haven't visited before, and just support them, whether if it's, for anything. It really makes a difference. I can tell you that because of us being underfunded, every online sale that we have through our website or market pop-ups, even a $10 jar order has made a huge difference in us getting our doors open. And we're at 13 months now, and we're not quite open. However, we're very, very much at the tail end. We're at like the cosmetic phase right now, and we're very excited, and I hope one day you can come visit our place, and we'd love to have you. So, thank you. And I definitely would like to say that I'm so honored to be here. I know so many people applied for this grant, and they're so deserving. I think about those people, the small businesses that were just so busy that didn't even have time to apply for this grant, because I know how it is. So I'm so honored to be able to receive this and be a part of just getting to know Milwaukee County and everyone involved with the Building Bridges grant. So if you can join me in welcoming someone who has lived in Milwaukee their entire lives, and they are rooted in resilience and truly care deeply about the community. I would like to bring to the stage Milwaukee County Executive David Crowley. Sorry, I don't know where he is.
We are having our 2026 State of the County Address. Now every year, thank you. Now every year I look out at this room filled with our community leaders, our partners and residents, and I'm reminded that none of the work we do in Milwaukee County happens alone. It takes all of us coming together to build something bigger than any one person or one office could accomplish on their own. That spirit of collaboration is exactly what today is about. And I'm grateful to all of you for being partners in this work. Before we dive in, I want to take a moment to recognize the incredible Milwaukeeans who gave their time and talent to make this morning so special, including the Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office and the Milwaukee County Fire Department Honor Guard for presenting the colors, the amazing Milwaukee High School of the Arts Concert Chorale for their beautiful rendition of our national anthem. And to Sarah Brewitt, one of our impressive Milwaukee County Youth Commission co-chairs. Thank you to her for reminding us not only our young people are our future leaders, but they're already leading the way. We also want to acknowledge our incredible hosts, Potawatomi Casino Hotel. I want to thank Dominic Ortiz and his entire team for welcoming us with hospitality and excitement, particularly during a very busy season. Now, if you're wondering what I'm talking about, please make sure to stop at the new Potawatomi Sportsbook to catch some March Madness basketball after today's program. And hopefully your bracket survived the first round without too many upsets. But for me, it's on Wisconsin all the way. Really excited about it. And this is just one of the activities that makes Potawatomi a dynamic hub for recreation, entertainment, and community pride. Their investments in Milwaukee County are generating economic activity, creating jobs, and doing it all while giving back to the community through the Heart of Canal Street program, which has contributed over $21 million to local children's charities. And the campus that we are gathered today in is owned and operated by the Forest County Potawatomi, a powerful reminder of Milwaukee County and Wisconsin's history as the ancestral homeland of 11 tribal nations, including the Potawatomi Nation. And as we honor their original stewards, we must continue to respect their deep connection to the land and commitment to building our future together. Again, thank you to Potawatomi for hosting us today. Let's give them another round of applause for everything they do to energize and strengthen Milwaukee County. And then last but certainly not least, I want to thank Liz Tachura for her lovely introduction. Liz has worked hard for many years bringing up her business, Tootsie's Tea. Many of you probably met Liz at community events like the River West Farmers Market, where she's famous for selling her signature loose leaf tea. And like so many entrepreneurs in the Badger State, Liz is chasing the American dream. But she'll be the first to tell you that starting a business, turning a profit, and keeping the lights on, it comes with its own unique set of challenges and obstacles. And at Milwaukee County, we understand that. We have a strong history of supporting economic development efforts by utilizing our real estate assets to attract investments and boost job growth. Milwaukee County's Office of Economic Inclusion also continues working with local contractors and firms to invest back into our community. Those efforts have produced significant results, but we can always do more. That's why during my State of the County address last year, I called on my administration to build bridges between small businesses, entrepreneurs, supportive organizations, and municipalities looking to fill, and in most cases, refill spaces in their commercial corridors. And it's why we partner with the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation to create the Building Bridges program. And through this effort, we've already awarded $10,000 grants to 20 small businesses across Milwaukee County. Since the program launched last summer, I've had the privilege of visiting a number of the Building Bridges grant recipients, including Tootsie's Tea, which will officially open its doors later this year. Liz, I know you can't wait, but I can't wait to be one of your first customers. We're all cheering on your success, so please help give a well-deserved round of applause to Liz for helping grow our Made in Milwaukee economy. But in addition to supporting entrepreneurs like Liz, my Building Bridges program provides technical support to help expand brick and mortar businesses across Milwaukee County. And since its inception, we estimate that the program has leveraged over $1.8 million in small business investments, supporting over 120 jobs in the process. And it's my hope that the Building Bridges program will inspire communities throughout Wisconsin to become a model for sustainable economic growth statewide. Now, I know you can't build a bridge from just one side. You need to work with your partners, your collaborators, and frankly, your whole village to build from both sides and meet in the middle. And we have sturdy bridges in Milwaukee County, in every corner. keeping partnerships strong and our neighborhoods connected. And doubling down on this work is more important than ever. As the cost of living continues to rise, I've heard from residents and families who are struggling to afford basic necessities, pay their bills, and financially support their children. And as a husband and a father, I share your frustrations. That's why I believe we must focus on these building blocks to close the distance between where too many families are and where they deserve to be. Bridge building is a key part of Milwaukee County's history. Since our inception in 1835, all of our forward-looking momentum have been rooted in strong collaboration. Many of our region's development successes, including the Pfizer Forum in the Deer District, Thrive on King, and the Milwaukee Regional Medical Center, have been the result of connections built between dedicated partners across various sectors. Whether we're talking affordable housing, access to health care, economic opportunity, my administration is committed to building and reinforcing the bridges that produce the meaningful and lasting results that Milwaukee County residents deserve. We've been building bridges alongside our departments to fulfill our responsibility to Milwaukee County taxpayers. Since I was elected, my administration has been putting cranes in the sky and empowering union workers on the ground to build up our communities. And I'll repeat one of my favorite sayings: from A to Z, meaning from the airport to the zoo, we are creating opportunities and growth for residents and families. And this year, Milwaukee Mitchell International Airport turns 100 years old, proving that time really does fly. Back in 1926, Milwaukee County purchased the former Hamilton Airport property and renamed it Milwaukee County Airport. And over the past century, our hometown airport has served over 300 million passengers, connecting residents to opportunities across the globe while welcoming visitors to our vibrant region. And to celebrate, we're making significant progress on two major capital projects that will help revitalize the airport for the next 100 years. Construction is nearing completion on the new MKE Air Cargo Project, a major investment that will transform the way regional businesses and suppliers transport their products. By avoiding the long shipping delays that we see in Milwaukee's biggest suburb, otherwise known as Chicago, the new Milwaukee Air Cargo Center will move materials and products faster, more reliably, and at a lower cost. And that means more predictable deliveries and lower prices for manufacturers, businesses, and consumers alike. And I'm proud this development will create jobs and support our regional economy, all at zero cost to local taxpayers. And speaking of projects that cost Milwaukee County taxpayers $0, we're moving forward with the redevelopment of Concourse E, bringing a much smoother, more convenient travel experience for passengers. By late next year, the new concourse will be fully operational, supporting opportunities to welcome even more domestic and international flights, generating more tourism dollars, more business connections, and more chances to showcase everything the Milwaukee area has to offer. Simply put, these investments are building the bridges that connect Milwaukee County to the rest of the world. And as I always say, the more we all fly MKE, the better it gets. And the same goes for our Milwaukee County Zoo. More visitors means more opportunities to offer new, unique experiences like the Rhino Care Center that we opened last year. This final phase of Adventure Africa welcomes Eastern Black rhinos back to Milwaukee County and strengthens the zoo's reputation as the premier place for education, conservation, and family fun for all. And those aren't the only exciting projects that we're investing in. Despite rising costs driven by increased tariffs and inflation, my administration has managed to break ground and celebrate the opening of 7 new facilities over the past year. And this includes the new home to our Department of Health and Human Services, the Marsha Peacock Center. For the first time in Milwaukee County's history, DHHS has a building designed specifically to deliver health and human services for our community. This is truly a generational investment to not only remove barriers, but to meet people where they are. It's putting vital health services for families, children, seniors, veterans, people with disabilities, and our most vulnerable residents all under one roof. And Director Shakita LeGrant McClain, she puts it best when she says, it's more than just a building, it's a lifeline. And I couldn't agree more. I'm grateful that we created this lifeline to our No Wrong Door model that continues improving access to care. By building bridges between DHHS service areas, No Wrong Door is connecting residents and families to programs they may not even know exist, helping them more easily access whatever services they need. And while we're constantly making improvements, I want to see the No Wrong Door model expand across all departments and services in county government. Because one of the best ways to save taxpayer dollars is to boost efficiency and streamline the way we conduct business. And so with this in mind, I am proud to announce that my administration is pursuing a new ambitious initiative that focuses on what the future of county government looks like. The Future State Project is a comprehensive effort to reimagine how Milwaukee County serves everyone who lives, works, and plays in our community. And the key question behind the Future State Project is this: do our current systems, policies, and programs truly support the future we want to create? Now let me explain. We know that we cannot change health outcomes in our community by doing things the way we've always done them. We always know that many of our programs, services, and policies, they were not designed to serve the changing needs of our diverse community. That's why the Future State Project focuses on how we operate today. A couple weeks ago, we unveiled the draft recommendations. Expanding the scope of No Wrong Door across county governments is one of those recommendations. But they also cover key priorities like improving access to legal services, lifting up early childhood development efforts, and creating more affordable housing options for working families. I recognize that rising housing costs are on the minds of Milwaukeeans every day, but my administration is taking steps to address this crisis head on. Just last week, I toured the construction site of the former Bucyrus Erie campus in South Milwaukee. And in partnership with Mayor Jim Zielinski and the Commission on Aging, we are helping redevelop this area to deliver more affordable housing options and a new senior center that will serve Southside residents and older adults for years to come. And this is just one example of our commitment to investing in affordable housing, because we know that stable housing is at the heart of a safe, healthy community. It is at the heart. And since I've taken office, we have committed nearly $50 million towards the development of affordable housing, particularly in our suburban municipalities, because we need affordable housing everywhere. These developments have made a difference for Milwaukee County residents across the full spectrum of housing needs, from our unsheltered neighbors to first-time home buyers and everyone in between. This past November, we celebrated the construction progress of the Hampton, an affordable housing community in Whitefish Bay that was made possible through steadfast grassroots advocacy. And soon we will break ground on the county's first ever affordable housing subdivision for home ownership in Oak Creek. Yes. And this year, we'll be wrapping up the development of more than 100 new homes for first-time homeowners, built in partnership with Milwaukee Habitat for Humanity and the MM Group. In January, I met Rhonda Murphy, one of our first-time homeowners. Raised in rental properties throughout her life with little exposure to home ownership, Rhonda is now shaping a brighter future for her family. Thanks to the partnership that we built with Milwaukee Habitat, Rhonda recently closed on a new house in the Midtown neighborhood that she will one day pass down to her son and family. Please join me in congratulating not only Rhonda, but every resident that we have empowered to achieve the dream of home ownership. Let's give them a round of applause. But we also recognize it's not enough for homes to just be affordable. They also need to be safe, which is why my administration launched a new program to reduce lead-based paint hazards in owner-occupied homes across Milwaukee County. Because when we solve housing challenges, we create the foundation that families need to build a bridge to the future they deserve. And look, our efforts are truly working. 2025 data shows that once again, Milwaukee County had the lowest unsheltered population count per capita in the entire country, y'all. In the entire country. Nationally, we are seen as leaders in this space. And that's because time and time again, we've shown that housing first, a housing first approach really works. We know that the only way to bridge the gap between homelessness and stability is by getting our residents into homes. Since we implemented the Housing First model, we've reduced our homeless population by 75% in under 10 years, saving Milwaukee County taxpayers over $30 million in the process. And at the beginning of this year, we took an even more active role to ensure people can access the housing and supportive services they need. By engaging local landlords to eliminate barriers for vulnerable residents trying to secure safe and affordable housing, my administration has stabilized nearly 300 homes. We partnered with Project Return to provide housing and wraparound services for newly released Community Reintegration Center residents that will help them maintain sobriety, employment, and health as they return to their communities. Additionally, the DHHS Housing Services team has taken on a new role as the lead agency for the region's coordinated entry system, building bridges between individuals experiencing homelessness and the wraparound services that can change the direction of their lives. My administration remains committed to building on this progress to end homelessness right here within Milwaukee County. Because as someone who knows firsthand what housing insecurity feels like, this isn't just good policy. It's deeply personal. And the same is true for mental health. Many Milwaukeeans have seen the toll that untreated mental health struggles can have on that individual, their families, and our community as a whole. That's why strengthening and expanding access to mental and behavioral health services remain a core mission of my administration. Because getting people the help they need is how we build a healthier, more resilient Milwaukee County. And one of the clearest examples of this commitment is the impact of the Mental Health Emergency Center, which we relocated from Wauwatosa to the King Park neighborhood, where the vast majority of residents seeking those services live and work. In 2025, the Mental Health Emergency Center served nearly 8,000 individuals experiencing a mental health or substance use crisis, showing what's possible when access is no longer a barrier. The Office of Emergency Management is also working to ensure residents are connected to care when they need it, reducing repeat 911 calls and improving health outcomes across the county. Through a new mobile integrated health initiative, we're building bridges between Milwaukee County EMS, clinicians, and community health partners to deliver proactive, patient-centered care for residents facing a mental health crisis. Also, late last year, we installed suicide prevention signs in Milwaukee County parks across the community. Since 2020, nearly 40 people have lost their lives to suicide in our parks. And in 2024, one of them was my best friend, Jonathan Brostow. But his loss, that loss, was a painful reminder of how critical it is that we continue breaking the silence around mental health and creating more spaces where people feel seen, supported, and safe to ask for help. And together we're sending a very simple message: that help exists, that healing is possible, and that hope is just one phone call away. All too often, mental health struggles and addiction coexist. So it's crucial that we also build bridges to behavioral health services to address substance use disorders directly. For many years, local leaders and organizations have been on the front lines of the opioid crisis. And the initiatives we've built with those partners are making a measurable difference. In 2024, Milwaukee County saw a 30% decrease in opioid overdose deaths. And preliminary data for 2025 shows that we are on track for another substantial decline. These encouraging trends, they reflect the power of partnership. And by working alongside other harm reduction service providers to make life-saving supplies like Narcan more accessible, we are saving lives. And that means there are more opportunities for treatment, for recovery, and a path forward. But because we're seeing results doesn't mean we can take our foot off the gas. Even one life lost to overdose is one too many. No one, and I mean no one, should have to experience the devastating grief of losing a loved one to this crisis, which is why we remain committed to investing in these initiatives. To date, Milwaukee County has secured the largest amount of opioid litigation settlement dollars recovered by any local government in the history of Wisconsin. And we have put these funds to work supporting a wide range of strategies to reduce fatal overdoses, from countywide distribution of harm reduction supplies and connections to residential substance abuse treatment facilities, to improving the data that informs our policy decisions. This year, we're launching a new tool that uses real-time data to assist our efforts on the ground. In collaboration with regional health partners, we're investing in technology to implement a data-driven alert system that will detect notable spikes, overdose spikes. And this system will deploy key personnel throughout Milwaukee County, not just to mobilize our community resources, but to mitigate current harm and prevent near-term overdoses. This has the potential to save even more lives. And I want to thank our Chief Health Policy Advisor, Dr. Ben Weston, and all of our partners for keeping up the fight against the opioid epidemic. Through our Better Ways to Cope initiative, we're centering the community in our harm reduction efforts, equipping organizations with the tools, the resources, and the funding that they need to make a real impact. I recently met with several community-based organizations that have received opioid settlement dollars to deliver prevention, treatment, and recovery services to underserved populations. And while they shared the heartbreaking realities they've witnessed in the community, I also heard an unshakable sense of resilience, perseverance, and hope. And one of those stories was from Startina White. Startina was able to access life-changing support services as she battled her own addiction journey. And now she's helping others do the same in her role at Wisconsin Community Services. Startina's story reminds us how personal this work is for so many people in our community. And that's why we keep building bridges to combat the opioid epidemic through evidence-based solutions. And some people ask why? Because so many lives depend on it. Lives also depend on the dedication of our emergency response teams right here within Milwaukee County. In 2024, the Office of Emergency Management launched a pilot program to administer whole blood transfusions in the field. And this program allows first responders to deliver immediate life-saving care rather than having to wait until the patient reaches the hospital. And those critical minutes, those critical moments, they can mean the difference between life and death. Since its launch, 45 patients across the county have received whole blood transfusions following severe injury and trauma. That's 45 people who are given a fighting chance to survive, a chance they wouldn't have had before this program existed. Milwaukee County was the first EMS system in Wisconsin and among the first fire-based EMS systems in the nation to deliver pre-hospital blood to critically injured patients. And I am deeply grateful to OEM and our municipal fire departments for their leadership, compassion, and commitment to saving lives. And in one case, their swift response saved 2 lives. A young woman has suffered postpartum hemorrhaging after giving birth at home. Now, what should have been one of the happiest days in her life became one of the most terrifying. But because of the skilled response from EMS paramedics and the availability of whole blood, she was able to receive a transfusion before the situation became fatal. And today she is healthy, she is home, and she is able to care for her baby. That is the incredible impact of this program. It's a powerful reminder of what's possible when we build bridges centered on saving lives. And we're honored to be joined today by Milwaukee area first responders who are administering blood transfusions and saving lives every single day. Can you please stand and be recognized for your heroic work? When emergencies strike, it's our first responders who spring into action. And I want to take a moment to acknowledge their extraordinary work following one of the most serious weather events we've ever experienced in recent memory. Last August, extreme storms and historic flooding hit southeastern Wisconsin. The damage was profound, and it tested our community's strength and perseverance. In the days and weeks that followed, I visited impacted neighborhoods and met with residents, families, and business owners who lost their belongings, who lost their homes, who lost everything. But because of the swift action and courage of our first responders, lives were protected, and for that, we owe them a debt of gratitude. Our emergency response and public health professionals came together to support residents during that challenging time, many of whom were simultaneously navigating flood damage of their own. They showed up for our community even when they needed support themselves. Because that's what we do in an emergency. We roll up our sleeves and we get to work. Milwaukee County OEM, they stood up a coordinated emergency operations center, working closely with our state and municipal partners, including Mayor Cavalier Johnson, county departments, and community organizations. We worked quickly to compile data on the damage that we suffered, identify essential resources, share critical information with the public, and help residents clean up their homes and neighborhoods. And in the days following the storm, amidst the heartbreak and devastation, I saw the very best of our community. Neighbors showed up to help their neighbors. Businesses stepped up to support those in need, and the spirit of service that defines us was stronger than ever. The resilience of our community is something that I will never take for granted. I want to thank the Wisconsin Emergency Management Division for their steadfast leadership and dedication to delivering recovery services when we needed it most. And thank you to the FEMA employees who worked without pay during a government shutdown and to distribute over $152 million to more than 30,000 Milwaukee County residents and households, kickstarting their road to recovery. I am incredibly grateful that our residents were able to access the financial support they needed to repair their homes and businesses. But our recovery efforts were dealt an incredible, disappointing blow when the Trump administration denied public assistance to the state of Wisconsin without even providing a reason. The cost to repair the damage to public assets, like roads, parks, and public buildings, they still loom over us. But we must move forward without federal assistance. My administration will continue working to advocate for resources and identify responsible funding solutions so we can repair our public infrastructure. Because our taxpayers should not be forced to shoulder the full cost of disasters beyond their control. But if there is one lesson that we can take away from the August floods, it's that coordination saves lives. When disaster strikes, the bridges we've built between governing agencies, local organizations, and the community are what hold everything together. And having a central hub for our emergency response efforts is critical to how well we're able to respond in these times of crisis. And that's why I'm proud to share that this summer, the Office of Emergency Management will move into a new state-of-the-art home inside the Forensic Science and Protective Medicine facility in Wauwatosa. And this facility is the result of our partnership with the state of Wisconsin, the Medical College of Wisconsin, to create a long overdue dedicated home for the Milwaukee County Medical Examiner, and it will significantly enhance operations for our Office of Emergency Management. When we open the doors to this facility later this year, Milwaukee County will have a new tool in our public safety continuum that reflects our commitment to these efforts. It will also help provide critical support for anyone who is working on the ground to make our communities safer. But to address violence in Milwaukee, we need to look deeper than the symptoms. We must take a comprehensive approach to tackle the root causes, the social, the economic, and the structural factors that allow violence to persist. That's why my administration invests in preventative efforts like the Credible Messengers program to engage with young people involved in the justice system. And I recently sat down with our credible messengers, including 414 Life, Running Rebels, the Youth Advocate Program, West Care, Wisconsin, and many others to discuss how we're using a public health solutions to prevent violence before it starts. The bridges that have been built between these organizations and our community have produced encouraging results. In 2025, Milwaukee saw a 15% decrease in youth victims of violence, of homicides, and non-fatal shootings compared to 2024, as well as a 46% reduction of victims of retaliatory violence. By investing upstream, we're doing more than just preventing violence in our neighborhoods. We're keeping young people out of the criminal justice system, and we're putting them on a much brighter path forward. But if we want a safer future for Milwaukee County, we must also get serious about reckless driving. Motor vehicle collisions remain one of the leading causes of death and disability in our county. But that's not something we have to accept, because the fact of the matter is that traffic deaths are entirely preventable. That's why my administration is committed to advancing Vision Zero, our initiative to eliminate traffic fatalities and serious injuries by 2037. And earlier this week, I announced that all 19 of our municipalities, they've created their own safety action plans tailored to address the specific risks and hazards in each community. Just recently, Milwaukee County secured $25 million to fund 67 traffic safety projects along our most hazardous roadways, including pedestrian infrastructure upgrades, traffic calming measures, and much more. And while those projects get underway, our Department of Transportation crews have been incorporating Vision Zero principles into their daily work and developing a series of traffic calming activities to make streets safer everywhere. But the Department of Transportation isn't just tasked with making our streets safer. They're also working to build a more sustainable future for public transit in Milwaukee County. For thousands of residents, a strong, reliable public transit system is non-negotiable. It's essential infrastructure for our community, and I will always treat it that way. But I also want to be honest about what's ahead. MCTS faces a serious structural funding challenge in 2027. But you don't want to just hear me say that there's a problem. You all deserve to know what I'm going to do about it. Under the leadership of Transportation Director Joe Lamers and MCTS President Steve Fuentes, we are pursuing a fiscally sustainable path forward that does not abandon our riders. We're also building the coalition of state and federal partners necessary to secure dedicated transit funding for Milwaukee County, because we can't provide it alone. And I've fought to deliver funding for this community for both the state and federal government before. And in the end, I won. And I promise you that I would do it again. I will continue advocating for the funding our transit system needs, because the strength of our community depends on keeping people connected. And a strong, healthy community also depends on access to recreation, relaxation, and nature. Right here in Milwaukee County, we are extremely fortunate to have over 150 parks for our residents to enjoy. The Milwaukee County parks truly are the beating hearts of our neighborhoods and our communities. Whether it's our beer gardens, our golf courses, or our community centers, more people are visiting our parks than ever before. In 2025, we celebrated the grand openings and groundbreakings of several projects in our parks, including the transformational rehabilitation of South Shore Beach. We also completed a 20-year plan to modernize our aging pools and aquatic assets, beginning with a bold vision for the future of the Washington Park Pool. And this year, we're celebrating a milestone anniversary. The beloved Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Community Center turns 50 years old. That's a half a century of serving as a welcoming space for neighbors to come together. And then there's another milestone that I know many residents have been waiting a very long time for. By working with Chairwoman Marcelia Nicholson Bovell and the Milwaukee County Board of Supervisors, my administration approved a plan to advance the redevelopment and restoration of the Mitchell Park Domes. Together, thank you. Together, we finally forged the path forward for the domes that we preserve a treasured Milwaukee landmark while protecting taxpayers and delivering long-term savings for the county. And when I think about building bridge outdoor assets like our parks, I'm proud we enacted Milwaukee County's Climate Action Plan that is helping us achieve net zero carbon emissions while advancing equity, justice, and resilience throughout our community. By reaffirming our climate goals, we will continue to lead with urgency, with transparency, and a clear vision for a more equitable and sustainable future. And as we look ahead, we must continue to navigate the turbulent fiscal environment and build bridges to ensure Milwaukee County is financially strong. At the end of the day, none of our other priorities are possible without a solid foundation, and we have a lot to show for our efforts. In 2024, I delivered the largest property tax cut in Milwaukee County history, which is currently keeping the levy lower than previous years and limiting the financial burden on residents as much as we can. And as a result of my administration's fiscal stewardship, Milwaukee County ended 2025 with a surplus, currently estimated at $14 million by the Milwaukee County Comptroller's Office. This is encouraging news. It's encouraging news for our taxpayers and the services that they rely on. But I want to take it a step further. Since I've been county executive, we've ended every single year with a budget surplus. We accomplished this by addressing our legacy pensions issues, creating more revenue sources, and building bridges with communities across Wisconsin to fund critical services. We've also been fighting on behalf of Milwaukee County in Madison and coming home successful. During the last state legislative session, my team took our case to the Capitol and we secured new revenues and budget provisions to fill in future gaps. We worked with a bipartisan group of lawmakers to identify fair funding solutions. And because of our advocacy, Milwaukee County will now be more fairly reimbursed for state-mandated services for the first time in over 60 years, saving taxpayer dollars for years to come. This is a huge win that will help our bottom line in the long run. And it is my hope that the budget surplus that leaders in Madison are debating will not only deliver meaningful property tax relief, but investments in education and additional public transit funding for people across our state. Regardless, I'm grateful. I'm grateful for the bipartisan relationships that we have built with members of the Wisconsin State Legislature. And I look forward to working together to provide additional resources for those we serve. And none of this would have been possible without the great leadership of our great governor, Tony Evers. Since he took office in 2018, Governor Evers has been a true partner and a tireless advocate, building up progress across the state to serve Wisconsinites with dignity, integrity, and compassion. I want to extend my heartfelt gratitude to Governor Tony Evers, First Lady Kathy Evers, and their family for their dedication to the Badger State. Please join me in thanking Governor Evers for everything he has done, not just for the people of Milwaukee County, but for the people of the great state of Wisconsin. Now, I truly believe that the best way to honor Governor Evers' legacy is by continuing to build the bridges that he laid the foundation for. We know this work is more important than ever. Since last year, a lot has happened in our community, throughout our state and across our nation. I was recently in Washington, D.C., where I met with governing leaders from around the country who expressed the same concerns, fears, and frustrations that we're feeling here in Wisconsin. They're also worried about federal budget cuts that threaten to strip away services that residents rely on. They're also closely watching federal immigration agents overtake cities and tear children, families, and neighbors away from the communities they call home. And they too are exhausted by the political dysfunction and government shutdowns that make it harder for working people to put food on the table, fill up their gas tanks, pay their bills, and keep a roof over their heads. Those fears are real. That anger is justified. And again, I share that overwhelming frustration. So here's my promise to you. I will do everything in my power to ensure that Milwaukee County, we do not pay the price for decisions being made in Washington, D.C. And I will keep fighting and keep building bridges at the state and federal level to fight for the resources our residents deserve. I am constantly grateful to have the partnership of United States Senator Tammy Baldwin and Congresswoman Gwen Moore in this fight. Extremely grateful. And I won't pretend that these are easy times. But leadership isn't about waiting for calm waters. It's about responding to the changing tides and steering the ship through the storms. So while the political environment that we find ourselves in may be unreliable, my promise to you is that my commitment to this community will not be. I will keep investing upstream to ensure services reach the working families who need them. I will protect the progress that we have made together, and I will not stop our pursuit of equity for every resident here in Milwaukee County. You all know me. I grew up in Milwaukee, and now my wife and I get to watch our 3 daughters do the same. This is my home. This is my community. I've seen the pain, and I've felt the struggles. But I've also witnessed the strength and the compassion and the resilience that truly defines us. And that has guided me in every chapter of my journey. From working as a community organizer to a state lawmaker, and now as your Milwaukee County executive, I will never back down from a fight. I show up and I get the job done. I believe my record speaks for itself. Because of the bridges that we've created and the people who have helped build them, I can say with confidence, the state of our county is strong and getting healthier and brighter every single day. Wisconsin's motto is just one word, y'all: forward. And I will keep moving forward, overcoming the obstacles that we encounter toward the future that we all deserve. Our momentum cannot and will not stop, because this community will always be worth fighting for. So let's keep building together. Let's keep fighting together. And may God bless you all. Thank you.
I'm the last of my kind.
Talk to some folks, and then we'll do an avail. So stick around if you'd like to ask a couple questions, okay?